Welcome to Fun and Games Side Quests. Every episode is a different host sharing a video game they love and why they love it.
Hey, my name is Moises Taveras. I'm a freelance writer who I guess you can see around on some sites that you might have read once or twice. I read about games because I love games. And I really wanted to talk today about Rock Band. So bear with me for a second and let's kind of flash back to 2007. In 2007, I am 10 years old. I'm in 4th grade. And honestly, at this point in my life, games just aren't that much of a part of the equation. I have systems. Like, I believe I have my first DS by this point. It was a DS Lite. I've had my Game Boy for a while before this, but even that was a hand-me-down from a cousin. And in terms of home consoles, in terms of the big systems, I had a PS2 that broke a while ago. And so never got that repaired because my family does not come from a ton of money. So I completely miss the beginning of the 6th generation of systems that starts with the Xbox 360, continues into the Wii and the PS3. And for a while there, I don't have any of these. What I do have, though, are cousins who do have a PS3. And I'm also on my television at all times watching cable. So in 2007, there was a game that was being advertised to hell called Rock Band. And in Rock Band, you could play guitar, you could play drums, you could sing, I believe you could even play bass. And this blew my mind. To this point, we had only had Guitar Hero, which only let you play lead guitar, let you play like the rhythm guitar. But here was a game that was really marketing itself as a game that you could play with your friends, with the people around you. And here was also a game that like really brought together two parts of you that you didn't really know came together in this way. I had played some Guitar Hero, but like I didn't ever feel like it really was the send up to my love of music and also games. But Rock Band was here making it look easy. And commercials were going around at this point. And every commercial, or rather like the one commercial that I kept seeing all the time, always stressed the group setting. It always stressed like, oh, you know, like Rock Band's the game that you play at a party with friends. Mind you, I was 10. I didn't go to parties. I didn't go to parties until I was like 18, to be completely honest. But there were always these parties, and there were always these people years older than me, and they always seemed like they were having a blast. And they were organized in their little stations, playing their fake plastic instruments, and it just like clicked for me, you know, like this is the game that I want. You know, if there are no other games ever, at least this year, I get to marry my love for music and my love for games and maybe even have like a fun time with people. I didn't have a system, so I didn't get Rock Band myself, but my cousins did. And I went to my cousins a lot when I was a kid. I would go there on the weekends and I would come back home to my parents. I would have to travel uptown to go to them, and then they would trade me off in Queens and I'd come back down to Brooklyn. So I spent a lot of time with my cousins, and I remember being just in awe of Rock Band. I tried my hand at everything that I could when I realized that they had it. And they had like the full, I think they had everything but the second guitar for a bass player. So we had a lead guitar, we had a mic for our vocalist, and we had a drum kit. And I tried my hand at everything because I always wanted to be a guitarist, but there were other things that I could do. I could keep a beat on like the table at lunch at school, and so I thought like, oh, maybe I should try my hand at the drums. And I've always been a singer. Not a professional one, not a good one, mind you, although my friends are very kind and tell me otherwise. But I tried my hand at being a vocalist. I tried my hand at being a guitarist. I tried my hand at being a drummer. And I could only really try these things because of Rock Band, frankly. Guitars are expensive, so are vocal lessons. And a drum kit is beyond the reality of what we could ever do in any of our like tiny apartments growing up. Even now, I've been living in the same place since 2008, the year after Rock Band, and I still don't have the space for a real or fake drum kit. But in Rock Band, and this is corny to say, this is corny to admit ever, but in Rock Band, like, I was really able to live out the fantasy of not of being a rock star, because I've never had delusions of grandeur of being a rock star, but it was instead just the fantasy of being in a place where I could explore music. To that point, all the music in my life had been music that came on the radio, music that my brother blasted off of the speakers on our family desktop. It was whatever came on MTV. I didn't really develop much of a taste for my own music really until Rock Band and some other games in the next year after that came out. And the Rock Band like track list was formative, to say the least. I mean, I always come back to Jet. I can't remember the name of the song. I think it's Are You Gonna Be My Girl off the top of my head. That song was something. It wasn't even all that great in retrospect, but it was one of the first times that like a song just spoke to me because it spoke to me. It had like an energy to it that I resonated with. It had lyrics that I wanted to shout at the top of my lungs. It had chord progressions that I wanted to play, It had a beat that I wanted to realize on a drum. I'm not going to say that Jet's Are You Gonna Be My Girl is like the most formative thing to my love for music, but I won't deny that it's definitely a part of it. There was Black Hole Sun from Soundgarden. The Rock Band was my introduction to the Ramones and Blitzkrieg Bop. I played Creep for the first time in Radiohead. And in case you haven't realized, I'm going in alphabetical order because I am looking at a Rock Band track list as I record this. Danny California, or Danny California by Red Hot Chili Peppers, is a song I still do at karaoke to this day. I am not 10 anymore. I am 24, going on 25, and I still listen to this song. I can probably list off so many tracks off of this set list that resonated with me and that still have some place in my heart or in my playlists on Spotify. But really, like, I think I've captured more than enough just how important the songs and just the act of playing Rock Band was to me as a kid and continues to be now, well into adulthood. Like, it sucks to say it because I'm used to being a baby. I'm used to being the youngest person everywhere I go. And I'm kind of an adult. And these songs still stick with me. My love of music isn't traced back to Rock Band, but Rock Band definitely stoked like those early embers in my life. And yeah, I mean, I'm still looking at this playlist and like Welcome Home by Coheed and Cambria. I think that was the first song that I ever saw being played in Rock Band. I think it was even in the commercials that I'm talking about. And if it wasn't, it was at least somewhere in the promotional material. And these are just all still bands and names and songs that stick with me. I call myself a karaoke king these days. It's a joke. I don't really think of myself as a karaoke king, but I definitely have an affinity for karaoke that I didn't know that I had until I finally did it a few years ago. And when I really think about it, like the first time I ever did anything like karaoke was singing Blitzkrieg Bop with my cousin. You know, I think she was just there in the room with us, and her two brothers, so two of my other cousins, were on the drums and the guitar. And I think I just grabbed the mic and I just shouted, you know, and that's kind of what karaoke is. Depending on your talent, it's either like a screech or it's a sweet melody. If I really think about it, like my first karaoke experience was kind of in the safety of that room with those people and with that music. And that's kind of thanks to Rock Band. I wouldn't be a karaoke king, I think, if it wasn't for that game allowing me to explore music, but explore it in a way that was comforting to me. So with games, and with family. Rock Band was never a thing that I ended up doing with friends all that much, but it was a deeply familial thing. And I'll always be happy that I kind of had that time and that space with that game and with those people and with that music. And I think I'll genuinely carry it with me always. And so that's why I really love Rock Band. I've never really played much of the later ones. I've never played a lot of the expanded DLC playlists. And I don't really feel like I need to. Because if my one and done Rock Band experience is the time that I shared with my cousins playing it back in 2007, then I mean, I turned out fine now, and I still think about those days fondly now. And so I think that's good enough. I think Rock Band is good enough. I think Rock Band is fantastic, and I will always owe it for all of that. Yeah, I think that's all I got on Rock Band. Happy gaming, folks.
Video games are a unique medium.
They can tell stories,
Immerse us in strange, fantastic worlds.
blur the very boundaries of our reality.
But at the end of the day, video games are fun. Whatever fun is to you.
I'm Jeff Moonen,
And I am Matt, aka Stormageddon.
and on Fun and Games, we talk about the history, trends, and community of video games.
It's a celebration of all the games we play and all the fun we find within them.
And there's so many more games out there, so we hope you'll share in that conversation with us.
Fun and Games podcast with Matt and Jeff. Find us on certainpov.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
And happy gaming.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.